You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the BQN Hive Mind presents Let's Go San Francisco, the BQN's Starfleet Academy panel and recap show, which is a wonderful perk for our BQN podcast network patrons. If they're available when I'm available, pretty much they can get to be a part of the show and help us recap what is going on in the most recent episodes of Starfleet Academy. If you would like to be a part of future episodes, you can do so by becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month over at patreon.com/BQN. I'm joined today by one of our most loyal and amazing patrons. It is
thank you.
Jim McMahon. Jim, how's it going?
It is going fantastic.
It's going fantastic. Why is it going so fantastic, Jim?
Here talking Star Trek.
You're here talking Star Trek. We love that. We love it. I mean, what better thing is there to do than to talk Star Trek? What's been going on for you this last week? What's been happening in life?
So, trying to survive, and pardon me for swearing, trying to survive the shit show that's going on where I live in Minneapolis, in Minneapolis, St. Paul right now.
No, I'm sorry to hear that's still a challenge. It hasn't kind of eased up or got any better yet, or is it just sort of still the same?
It kind of eased up slightly lately, but I think it'll be a while. But I think it'll be a while before it really dies down.
Yeah, this is definitely it's going to leave its mark on the city. I'm sure. I'm very sure. But you're staying safe though. You're good. You're well.
Yes, the little the little pocket, the little pocket I live in seems to have mostly survived unscathed so far.
Oh, I am very happy to hear that. I'm very happy to hear that, Jim. And to any of our listeners or viewers who are in areas impacted by these awful, awful things that are happening, our hearts go out to you and we support you and we are 100% behind you here on the BQN and all the way from Australia too, sending lots and lots of love. It's been another interesting week for me, Jim. I've got my wedding coming up in 4 weeks' time. I've got 3 weeks left of work left before I head off to actually have the wedding. I've got Amy and Kelvin from the BQN coming all the way to Australia. There's just a lot happening. Life is pretty full on. But I am happy to say the ridiculously hot weather has chilled out a little bit. We've gone from 45. Yeah, we've gone from like 45 degrees Celsius down to about 25 degrees Celsius. So things have definitely improved in that part. Plus, we've had some amazing Star Trek these last couple of weeks.
Have we ever?
We've had some really amazing Star Trek these last 2 weeks. Starfleet Academy has definitely shown what it is capable of. And Jim and I are going to be talking about episodes 4 and 5 today, Vox in Excelso and Series Acclamation Mill. I can see we've got a couple people in the live chat, including Peter and Chad. Make sure you join in on the conversation in the live chat as well. We love your input. So, Jim, I think we should just dive straight into it. Let's dive straight into it with Vox in Excelso. So cast your mind back 2 weeks. This episode was an emotionally charged episode, with the cadets taking part in Starfleet Academy's first formal debate in generations, the Nora Sati dedicated debate, during which Klingon cadet Jaden Cragg struggled with a fear of public speaking and the cultural pressure of being a Klingon who rejects the warrior path. When news arrives that a Klingon refugee ship has crashed, possibly carrying Jaden's family, The incident forces him to revisit painful memories of his brother's death and his ideological rift with his father. As the cadets debate the issue of the Klingon diaspora, Jaden argues fiercely that Klingons must preserve their autonomy rather than accept Federation charity. Meanwhile, Chancellor Arke works diplomatic back channels to persuade Klingon leadership to accept a new homeworld, Fan Alpha, in order to avert extinction. The episode blends personal identity, cultural survival, and political tension, giving us the first ever look of 32nd century Klingon struggles, something that we were all wondering about during the latter seasons of Discovery.
We were wondering what the hell happened to the Klingons all throughout the latter half of Discovery. And I'm going to correct you on one thing, Davey. I would be very afraid, if it was the Nora Seti debate club. It was the Aaron Seti debate club.
Anyway, never mind.
Sorry, I just had to bring that up.
It's Saturday morning and it's tea at the moment. The tea's still going down and still warming me up. So that is so funny. Anyway, Jim, first thoughts. Just give me your first initial brain dump before we go through some of the themes and topics of this episode.
I might bring up a theme in my brain dump here, but I thought this was a very how can I put this, thought challenging episode. In that it showed us, like, the Federation, for all of its well intentions and good meanings, like, they can be blinded sometimes by that, like, just because, hey, we have the best of intentions, take this gift from us, but that might not always be the right course of action, and they don't always see that. And this isn't the first time we've had episodes like that in Star Trek.
Yeah, it was. I think that for me is why I walked away from this episode feeling so warm and fuzzy, though, because it presented such a traditional Star Trek moral dilemma, and came at it from multiple angles. You had kind of the pain it was causing the cadet, but then the galactic scale of it as well. And I think that's one of the things I love about Academy. It kind of almost actually reminds me a little bit of what I used to love about Lower Decks when it first started. And that was the fact that you saw these big problems happening whilst these younger junior people were just sort of trying to live their lives and get through school and do their jobs and all that kind of stuff. The fact that,
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, like the cadets aren't the ones solving the big galactic problem here, but encouraging them to talk through the cultural differences and debate them, I thought was really fantastic. I thought,
yeah, and I absolutely loved how the doctor, and he was a brilliant choice to run the club, by the way. I absolutely loved how he stressed, do not take, absolutely do not take this, absolutely do not make sure there. How can I put this? Absolutely do not make sure.
Was it the
something? Whatever it was, is about the ignore disinformation, I think it was, or something like that.
I know what you're getting at. He had a great quote, and Robert Picardo's been plastering it all over his socials. It was, there's been a disaster, or there's been a disaster, or there's been a catastrophe. Let's not confound it with ignorance. Right?
Ignorance and disinformation, I think it was.
Yeah, and there are definite echoes of what happens in the world, like the divide with people when there is some kind of tragedy at the moment. With
kind of like what I'm experiencing right now, actually.
Oh yeah. What I want to start on, though, right, is the Klingons. So this was big. This is big. Kronos is gone, or Kronos, as it kind of got pronounced a lot during the episode. But whatever.
I remember my jaw dropped when I heard when they made that reveal. It was like, no more Kronos.
I was blown away, but I was like, wow. So now in canon, with like the two worlds that have always been either like the biggest, have both been big threats to the Federation at some point. One became a dicey ally at times, are both gone. Romulus is now gone, and now Kronos is now gone. Kronos, I'm going to keep saying Kronos. Klingons are refugees. What did you think
Yeah,
of this?
they went from I think it was, didn't they have in like early Discovery, didn't they say there was like 24 great houses, and I think that went down to 12 at one point, and now they only have 8 great houses,
Yeah.
which means they're a greatly reduced species, practically to the point of vagabonds, if for lack of a better term.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what did you think? How do you feel about the fact that that Cronus has been destroyed in the 32nd century?
I was shocked, to say the least. Like, this was one of the probably most proudest and strongest warrior species ever in the history of Star Trek, and now they've been reduced to the point of I want to say beggars, but but I'd say they might even be lower than that, since they're too proud since they're too proud of a species to beg.
Yeah, it's it made sense. That part of it made sense to me, though. At first, I was a little bit like, "Oh no, I can't believe that they did that to the Klingons." But then the way that they handled it in the episode totally redeemed it for me anyway. And yeah, the reasoning, or the kind of the exposition that we got to explain what happened, which was, they had massive dilithium reactors on the planet, which would have exploded and caused like ecological disaster, made sense. And that probably happened to lots of other planets as well. And then, so we've got them as refugees now as well. But then this was used as an exploration of a different side of the Klingon culture as well. Now, I can imagine
Apparently they can be polygamists.
they can be polygamous. We had triad houses. I think I had a feeling that perhaps there was a queerness to Jaden. And I think that's very much been confirmed in these 2 most recent episodes. In fact,
I never actually picked up on that until they made it pretty much official in the next episode, which we'll get into when we talk about that.
yeah, definitely. But I mean, for me, Jaden's story in this, right? So, especially his flashbacks to the family, the anger of his fathers, that he didn't want to follow the warrior path, and all that kind of stuff. That felt like an allegory to me for coming out as gay, and going against the norms. And it's still very much the case now, but very much for my like generation coming out in the 90s and all that kind of stuff. It was always it was a similar experience. I was terrified to tell my parents about the fact that that I was something different. I had siblings who already knew and encouraged me. And I don't know, it felt very similar to that experience for me, whether that was the intention of the writers or not. But I imagine especially a lot of gay people would have got that feeling from.
As someone who is a heterosexual male, kind of makes sense. I wouldn't pick up on that until I'm pretty much slapped across the face.
Yeah, it's something you need to have experienced, to be honest, right? Like, so, and again, another gay person may not have gotten that same allegory that I did. But it also, what I loved is that they showed that there could be this side to Klingons. Do you know what I mean? So Jaden is potentially gay, queer, bisexual, whatever he may be. Like, I don't feel like they're really kind of throwing labels around in the 32nd century. But he can still be a proud Klingon. Do you know what I mean? He still, even though he wasn't following the warrior path, he still fiercely believes in.
Oh, they
Klingon.
made that plainly obvious throughout the previous 4 episodes. He's a very proud Klingon.
He's an extremely proud Klingon, right? And his sexuality doesn't detract from that at all, which I found really, really, like, again, Star Trek, thank you for always being so amazing and telling these stories in a way that is so genuine and so open. And I'm just going to quickly drop into the chat, right? Because I'm just saying everyone's loved all the episodes, but these 2 episodes in particular sold people on the show. Thank you, Ririten. And Chad's talking about remembering the TNG episode where Riker fell in love with a non-binary humanoid, and that was very risky back then. Very risky back then. I agree. I mean, risky in terms of the networks. I mean, and the way they approached it. But anyway, let's move on to the second topic for this. So, I mean, and we're kind of already touching on this already, which is identity versus tradition. So Jaden has an internal conflict reflect the tension between individual identity and inherited cultural expectations. I mean, I've just given you my read on this as a queer person. Like, what was your read on that tension between his cultural expectations and his individual identity?
I honestly don't even know how to answer the question.
That's okay. That's okay. Again, that's probably more like, I probably wrote this question because of the amount of like what I was kind of getting out of it. Let's jump ahead though then to Federation ethics. So this was something you were interested in at the beginning when you were doing your summary. Should the Federation have intervened to save the Klingons, even when that assistant conflicts with Klingon values? What do you think? You touched on this before. Let's expand on that.
Well, it was clear. It was clear from the dialogue between Vance and Nala that this hadn't been the first time this issue had come up between the Klingons in their current state and the Federation. So it's clear it was a touchy subject to begin with. But for whatever reason, the Federation, they had blinders when it came to the Klingons on. So like the Klingon, I'm guessing maybe as soon as whenever after the burn, the Federation probably saw the Klingons as like, oh, we need to help them so much, and they never stopped thinking of them that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Federation being the Federation, right? Like
Yeah, pretty much.
The Federation has this. I feel like they would want to help any species like this. I think that it created. It's also much a prime directive issue, but very much a moral issue, right? Like
Yeah.
They said they didn't want help, so like, why not just? I mean, I guess the Federation also could have been worried that if the Klingons didn't accept their help, they would have gone and done what Klingons do, and I'm surprised it hadn't happened yet and conquered a world. Like, do you know what I mean? Like the Klingons they've got a long. I mean, it's 1,000 years in the future, but the Klingons have got a long history of conquering to expand the empire.
Well, the Klingons were also divided and separated at that because of the explosion, so that might be why they hadn't conquered a world yet.
Yeah, well, because you got to remember the empire itself used to be an empire of subjugated worlds, right? Like the worlds or races that had been conquered by the Klingons and had created different classes and all that within their society. I think they had largely abandoned that sort of by the late 24th century. They sort of tried to go back to the old ways around the time of season 4 of DS9. But yeah, I wonder if maybe that could have been a fear, right? If we don't help them, will they just go and start conquering worlds? But I guess on the flip side of that, they also probably don't have the resources to do that anymore, right? Like they wouldn't have been.
Yeah, and plus also the Federation didn't have a lot of resources either as well. So it was kind of a
I think without warp drive,
all around.
Yeah, without warp drive or limited access to warp drive, even though there was slipstreams and all that kind of stuff, that kind of just the connectedness of the galaxy had kind of dropped down. So Klingons had become more isolationists, or as refugees aboard. It sounds like they were essentially part of a flotilla, as opposed to being able to conquer. And I'm surprised they didn't slowly take themselves all out in glorious battle. So yeah, interesting. Let us know what you think of this in the chat as well, right? Like, what were the Federation ethics here? Is this really off brand for the Federation? Or is this, for me, it comes, like I said at the beginning, it's a real typical Star Trek moral dilemma, right? Like they had a very interesting solution to the problem. And let's talk about that, right? So Archie convinced the Klingons that, like, yeah, we're defending this world, rah, rah, rah. The Klingons showed up. They had a bit of a fake battle. The Federation kind of, threw the fight, so to speak, and said, we surrender. And so that was that. Essentially, they allowed the Klingons to conquer Farn Alpha whilst maintaining their honor and not seeming like they accepted help. And let's face it, the Klingons have been able to turn a blind eye to manage their or uphold honor in the past.
And they did, and they kind of did so again because the Klingons were because both sides in that battle were clearly pulling punches.
Yeah. Ruritan in the chat said the solution was predictable, but in a good way. Just because you can see a narrative resolution coming doesn't mean it isn't a good one. It's a very Trek solution. 100% chat agrees. Classic Star Trek solution to the problem. Really, really loved it. Plus, that led to a moment of a cool little battle. We got to see the Athena as its saucer section flying around, which I found interesting. But the best part about it was the Klingon theme music. Did your heart light up like mine when that Klingon theme music played when the Klingons all came out of Warp Gym?
I didn't even catch that.
You didn't? Oh
No.
my god! It was the da-dun. Sorry, I'm probably doing that terribly. The Klingon music you hear in like the motion picture where the Klingons.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, but I didn't pick up on it in the episode.
They played that music during the battle with the Klingons. It was so
wow.
cool. Go back.
I can't believe I missed that. Yeah, and someone is also mentioning in the chat about how the Klingons would never ask for the help. They just go get it like they abducted flocks.
Yes, that's a deep cut, Kevin. I like that, and a love for the return of the TMP Klingon theme as well. What did you think of the actual, the way the story was told? Because we weren't kind of looking at like A and B stories. We were looking at sort of like flashbacks and like current time as well. How did you find the flashbacks as a way of kind of extending our understanding of Jaden as a character?
Oh, I loved the story outline actually. And as far as Jaden's family goes, like, did it seem to you like each father was like the son was like the father of like one of the brothers, kind of, in a way?
Yeah, a little bit. I felt that way. It's I don't think we kind of got too much. We only got to know about one of the fathers though. Like the other father really didn't do much.
Yeah, I don't think the other father even had a line.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe that one was the one who spoke was the biological father, perhaps. Maybe.
Yeah, or Jaden's biological father.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, no, but as for the story structure of the episode, yeah, I liked it. Like it wove Jaden's internal conflict with the present situation with how he formed it into the past, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think this as well. I mean, it was great that I think this did what I was hoping the series would do, and that was not just focus on Caleb. Because the first sort of few episodes have been very, very Caleb-centric, and I was very worried.
And while Caleb was a somewhat strong presence in this episode, he wasn't the focus of the episode.
Yeah, I mean, look, Caleb's arc is, I think, very central to this season, don't get me wrong, but I mean, this episode and the one that followed, I mean, there's a bit, we're always getting a little bit extra of what's going on with Caleb. But, it was nice to sort of see, because I feel like Discovery never really did these, wonderful spotlight episodes on its actually quite wonderful cast. But
have you noticed, like, with each episode, with like whoever is the focus of the episode, with like the opening CBS card, you can tell who the focus of the episode is because they changed the graphics. Like at the start of this episode, the opening CBS card, I think, had Klingon lettering on it.
Yeah, it did. It kind of morphed into it too, which was cool. But yeah, and that's again, this is why I think these last two episodes have really won people over, because we're used to that that's the Trek we know and love. We love that we get, we love our Harry Kim episodes and our Dr. Crusher episodes and our Quark episodes, you know what I mean? So being able to so early on get a Jaden episodes and then a Sam episode with, with the arcs going on in the background as well. I think I said this last time. This is striking the balance between standalone and continuous storytelling that I don't think Strange New Worlds always gets quite right. The balance feels
or at least the current version of Strange New Worlds. The first season or two of Strange New Worlds got it perfect. Strange New Worlds, as it is right now, has kind of lost the focus.
Yeah, and season 4, I have hopes that we'll have a return to form. Let's talk about the main kind of one of the main storytelling or plot devices in this episode, which was the debate as diplomacy.
Oh, I loved the debate scenes.
Yeah, Ruritan has just said, I like that Caleb was unexpectedly talented at debate because he's good at memorizing technical details and laws.
And it's a form of combat, I believe he said too.
Yeah, exactly. So debate as diplomacy, how did you feel about the use of the debate club storyline and how
the montage scene at the when they're first practicing the debate was hilarious.
Yeah,
when they go through like each cadet, and the doctor goes through like all the cadets to see who can win, and he's just astounded beyond belief that it's Caleb. And of course, the Sam scene where it's like she gets up and starts to start her thing, and she just goes, Caleb, and then the doctor doesn't even give her the chance. He's like, out.
She's so cute.
And then, of course, I love that little plot device with her where she would go on to win her debate eventually later in the episode.
It was a good way to allow the moral dilemma of the episode to be explored, where normally it's in a starship-based Star Trek episode where we're on the bridge, it's Picard having an epic Shakespearean monologue about the moral dilemma, and it's acted amazingly, and it's all happening in real time. These are cadets. Cadets are not the ones responsible for solving the moral dilemma, but using that debate as a vehicle to allow the cadets to be able to have a discourse and have a voice on what is happening and what their government is doing. I thought that was brilliant writing.
Same.
Really, really good. I think not all the debate scenes landed for me. I thought some of them were a little on the cheesy side, but I think that was a bit intentional.
Some of them were also kind of like the requisite scene for some actors to get like their paycheck for the week, basically.
Yeah, we had an interesting comment in the chat that I see what you're saying here, Ruritan. Only problem with the debates, and this is minor, is that it felt like it wasn't willing to give it the time it needed to let a real back and forth linger. Instead, it focused a lot on montages. I agree. I think outside of maybe like the one or two big discourses between Jaden and Caleb, where, the tension kind of built and then overflowed really, really quickly, it was all very like quick and fast. But it largely
the only other
worked.
Focus in during the debate scenes, I think, was like Lura Thak and Nala in the audience, and I love and I loved in that little sequence, like Nala is fighting hard not to look either hungover or drunk, whichever one the audience wants to think it is.
Yeah, I agree. And what did you think of Jaden's fear of public speaking? A Klingon warrior who has a panic attack.
I thought that was a brilliant addition to how Jaden is. You're not your typical Klingon. Like most Klingons would have, I would assume, would have no problem speaking publicly, since almost every Klingon we've seen likes to be storytellers. But
yeah,
Jaden apparently doesn't want her like even physically doing any of that.
Yeah, and I felt the way that was portrayed on an actual very physical and personal level. I used to have a debilitating fear of public speaking.
Same.
Absolutely debilitating. And I now speak at conferences and events. I podcast, all that kind of thing. In fact, podcasting.
Same. I kind of still do to a certain to a certain degree, but not nearly as bad as I used to.
Yeah. The way he like the panic attack, I've had that panic attack before. I can remember early in my career, I had to get up and give a presentation in front of a small room of people for maybe 5 minutes. And I was so nervous and panicked. When I stood up, I just froze in front of this whole room and I could not get a word out. It was the most terrifying thing I have ever experienced. And now I look back and I'm like, what was I so scared of? But like, I understand that fear of that reaction. To anyone who's never had it before might seem a little extreme, but I have had exactly that reaction to public speaking.
I've had similar type reactions. I've never had that exact same reaction, but I remember when I was younger, when I was in college, I had to take a speech presentation class. I had to drop the class because I was always so terrified of giving the speech presentations.
Yeah, exactly. And you hit on a point there, right? Like, how many of us in like university or college have had to like prepare for some kind of public speaking thing and just dreaded it, like absolutely dreaded it. And and Peter just said in the chat, isn't fear of public speaking the number one fear? It is absolutely one of the top fears that people experience. And you know what? Even as someone who does it quite frequently now, I still feel it myself from time to time. I still absolutely feel it myself from time to time. Let's touch on a few other quick things that kind of came up in this episode. The scene between Jaden and is it Remy? Is that his name? The douchebag one.
Darum?
Darum, yeah, sorry. Remy, where did I get that from? I'm still learning their names. But that scene with the very intense, like the breathing exercise and the mantra and all that, very intense and a very unexpected moment from that character. Didn't you think?
Yeah, I thought so too. No, I genuinely think he was trying to help. He was trying to help. He was trying to help Jaden get over whatever was happening. But did you also kind of get a vibe that he kind of wanted to get into Jaden's pants there as well?
Look, you're a straight man. I'm a gay man. I rewound that scene a few times. Because both of those actors, very handsome men, and I was very much enjoying that scene. My eyes were open, friends. But on the serious side, I enjoyed that we saw that character has layers and depth beyond being the college douche. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
And that again is where everyone is saying Starfleet Academy's real strength is in its characters, because we're learning. So some of the sci-fi stuff is a little kind of like, oh, maybe it'd be cool with some more like high concept sci-fi, but the character development, like don't get me wrong, I love the Strange New Worlds cast. I loved the Discovery cast. I was okay with the season 1 and 2 Picard cast. But I am falling in love with these characters and the depth that they have in ways that modern Trek has not actually done for me, probably since like TNG and Voyager and DS9. Chad said apparently there's been lots of heated rivalry memes for that scene, comparing that scene to heated rivalry. That's hilarious. I think I went on the spoiler chat on the Discord and like, am I watching Star Trek or heated rivalry? Or someone said that.
And then one last thing about that episode. Like, what did you think about Lou? What did you think about Lou Rathok and her finally becoming Jaden's mentor, or so to speak?
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up as I think our closing one for this episode, as in terms of character moments. The main thing I found what she did in this episode was, because I spent the whole episode thinking, why isn't she more affected by what's happening with the Klingons? And then she said in that conversation with Jaden in his quarters that her family, was it that they renounced their Klingon heritage or something like that? Like,
I don't remember to be honest.
Yeah, but they'd more embrace the Jem'Hadar culture than the Klingon culture. They'd become more a Jem'Hadar, even though they embraced the fact that they had Klingon heritage. They led the Jem'Hadar way of life, whatever the Jem'Hadar way of life is in the 32nd century. You didn't pick up on that? You might have missed that.
Sorry, you froze for a second.
Oh, okay, all good. No, I was just going to say, like, yeah, like maybe, sorry, give me a second. I just saying, maybe I've completely lost my train of thought now. Lara Thok said, I'll have to repeat myself. Lara Thok said that her family had like renounced their Klingon heritage, or they didn't lead the Klingon way of life. They led whatever the Jem'Hadar way of life is in the 32nd century.
My memory on that is a little fuzzy. Like I remember she said her family renounced one of the ways of life. I just don't remember which one.
It was the Klingon. Because that was why I was like, that's what I was saying before. I must have froze, but I was saying, I was wondering throughout the whole episode why she wasn't more bothered by what was happening with the Klingons. But anyway,
maybe that's why. But I liked how I liked how after the debate she felt remorse about not being there more for Jaden. So she went and helped him.
Yeah. All good. All right. Well, that was Vox in Excelso, everyone. Keep the conversations coming in the chat. Jim and I are just going to take a break for a couple of minutes. And while we do that, please enjoy this little reel about what else you can find on the BQN network of podcasts. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel and check out our other shows as well that you're about to see in this little video. And we'll be back in a couple of minutes to talk about Series Acclamation Mill. We'll be back in a moment.
What's happening on BQN, you ask? Let's chart the Star Trek cosmos with all good things. Embark on a comprehensive journey through the entire Star Trek universe with the insightful crew of Amy, Christos, Kelvin, and Kristen. Galaxy class, engage! Stephen and Stefan pilots this Alpha Quadrant mission, meticulously covering all aspects of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Infinite diversity. Stay current with the newest Star Trek frontiers alongside Chrissy and Thad. Union Federation. Whether your allegiance lies with Starfleet or the Planetary Union, Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley offer a unified front, discussing both current Star Trek and the truly Trek at heart, the Orville. Crack open that book with Peter and the Trek Book Club podcast. Delve into a rich tapestry of Star Trek's beta canon. What's the tea, Bev? Christo spills the latest Trek news and fandom insights with an essential LGBTQIA+ perspective, complete with engaging guest interviews. Our visual voyages that you can find on YouTube as well as podcasts are Trek Masters. Think you're a Starfleet Academy graduate? Test your knowledge with Davey and MC's challenging Star Trek quiz show and the View Screen. Tune in live on Sundays for your dose of a Trek-inspired talk show. Kelvin and Amy host new 8-week seasons each spring and fall. But beyond the final frontier, we have Bargain Bin Gamer. Davey and Mitch, your self-proclaimed gamer guides, lead you to digital treasures, unearthing and reviewing the most affordable video game gems. Cinema Z. Grab your metaphorical popcorn for Mark and Matt's cinematic deep dives, unearthing overlooked films that demand your attention. History with the Szilagys. In order to never repeat it, tune in as Chrissy and Jason deliver bite-sized snippets of historical events from around the globe. You can unlock deeper levels of engagement with our exclusive patron perks. The Hive Mind is where you can join our random script readings, live reaction shows, and roundtable discussions. We appreciate you choosing BQN to fill your auditory needs. Thank you for listening. Assimilate the audio.
Hey, we are back. I hope you enjoyed that little insight into what else you can find on the BQN Podcast Network. Please go and check those shows out. Lots of them you can find in podcast form across all of the normal podcast apps, and a lot of them are also in podcast form here on the BQN YouTube page as well. We love the likes, we love the subscribes, we love the 5-star reviews. We love our little BQN community, and it's still growing, and all the love and positivity that you give to your favorite shows just keeps us going. Anyway, Jim and I are now back to talk about what is probably my personal favorite episode of Star Trek in years. There, I said it. One of my, not just my favorite of Starfleet Academy, one of my favorite Star Trek episodes in a very, very long time.
Very high praise, Davey.
I'm sorry, I've not walked away from a start or like had credits roll and felt so emotional about a Star Trek episode probably since they walked onto the bridge of the Enterprise D in the final season of Picard. Like, I was that moved by it. So this is episode 5, series acclamation mill. Give us your thoughts in the chat, but let's do a quick synopsis here. This episode shifts perspective entirely, centering on Sam, or series acclamation mill, the Academy's first holographic cadet, who narrates the whole hour with a very energetic, fourth wall tinged style. In fact, it felt like a social media TikTok kind of energy to me. She's been charged with evaluating whether her isolated photonic species, the Kaskians, can safely interact with organics. And she's tasked with enrolling in the Confronting the Unexplainable course, but she can only get into the course if she can, solve the mystery of Captain Benjamin Sisko's fate. The story becomes a love letter to Deep Space Nine and to Sisko as Sam encounters Bajoran's spirituality, digs through Sisko lore, and even accesses a holographic recording of Jake Sisko. While she struggles to understand organic emotional complexity, from a romantic tension among her classmates to the chaos of human social norms, Sam ultimately learns the importance of choice, identity, and purpose. The episode blends humor, heart, and layered canon references while exploring what it means to carry a mission yet forge one own's path. Jim, lay it on me. Give me your thoughts on series. Your first kind of just your brain dump of series acclamation mill.
This wasn't my favorite. This was my favorite episode of the season to date, but I'm not going to go so far as to say it isn't one of my favorite in years.
Okay, that's all right.
I did
personal
enjoy the
identity
episode.
is what we're talking.
I will say that flat out, and I think you might remember from the last time we recorded one of these. Like I believe I said Sam was my least favorite character or something similar.
I do remember you saying that. Yes, it was
after watching this episode 5. Sam still, but oh Lord, did I gain so much more respect for her than I ever had before.
That's such a funny way to put it, Jim. It's like, she's my least favorite, but I don't hate her.
Oh, she's not at the bottom of my list anymore. She's not at the bottom of the list, but she's not at the top of the list either.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but I gained so much more respect for her, while at the same time, the Kaskian leadership, while Sam went up for me, the leadership of her species and whatever respect I have for them went.
Yeah, I mean, and again, you're probably thinking of that in Human Ways, right? Where this is a species that we learned in this episode was, I mean, they're photonic beings that were created by organics and subjugated into slavery, essentially. And then,
Which is a very good point.
Yeah, we don't know which species created them, though, which is interesting. So this is, they're not organics. They're not human. They've been isolated from the rest of the galaxy for a very, very long time.
And those are very good points. But like, just little additional factors. I loved the DS9. I loved the ode to DS9. Essentially, like when I figured out Tawny was the instructor, I was like, holy crap. And when I saw Sirach returning, same thing. But the one that really got me, like, are you effing kidding me? Like when you hear Avery's voice at the end of the episode.
Ah, yeah, incredible. There was so much going on in this episode, and I feel like it executed all of it almost perfectly. almost, it's as close to like, a very perfect episode in terms
Yes.
of execution and storytelling as Star Trek gets at times.
And they even managed to throw in some character growth outside of the storyline because finally, they stopped doing the will they, won't they dancing around the thing with Tarima and Caleb, and they finally just had them start,
Making out.
making out essentially.
Kevin said, the more this episode sits with me, the more some elements get to me. The doodles and glitter vomit didn't work for me. Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
I
Kevin.
loved that. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah. Do you know what, Kevin? I think those are the. I said in our previous recap that there's humor in it that I love, and then there's juvenile humor in it, which is for our young adult teenage audience. And that's what that is, right? I feel like, I can let that be because it's as long as the whole thing is not that juvenile humor, I'm okay. Like it.
And I love the throwing up glitter because like it kind of shows like it's a broad universe. Like for all we know, the biology of Kai whatever Ian, like there could be a very good reason why he vomits up glitter.
I know. It was a bit silly. It was silly. I've heard some people saying that this episode felt similar in a way to Data's Day.
Oh, I haven't heard that. That's a good analogy, actually.
Yeah, like, do you kind of see like her struggle to understand like organics? That's kind of echoing his journey as well in that episode where he's talking about his own misunderstandings of organics in his letters to Dr. Maddox.
Oh, yeah, very much so. Although, very much so. Although I like the added feature with Sam, where in Data's Day it's just one long single narrative. While with Sam, with Sam, the narratives are layered and overlap.
Yeah. And they told the story in a very different way, right? So Starfleet Academy, similar to some of the recent seasons of Strange New Worlds, is playing a lot with form and tone. At first, because it was almost this sort of semi-documentary style, I was kind of thinking, oh God, is this not what is Starfleet again? But like there was like on-screen graphics, direct-to-camera narration, shifts of influence with the audience connection, almost like I said, almost social media-like in a way. How did you feel about that, the form and the tone of the episode and the way they chose to tell Sam's story?
Oh, you mean like the opening graphics? Is that what you said?
Yeah, there was always the graphics, always turning and talking to the camera, the little monologue moments, funny little
I
doodles
loved
happening
those,
all
like
over the screen.
yeah, like the doodles at the beginning in the CBS intro. I thought that was fantastic. Like it shows you it's gonna be a Sam episode, and it's obvious from the get go with that. Like, and it was brilliant. And I think Carice knocked it out of the park with the
Absolutely.
talking to the fourth camera.
I mean,
And
she's very charming as a
yeah,
character and as an actor, right?
I mean,
Like,
and talking to the camera, I'm not an actor, so I don't know for sure. That probably can't be easy for any actor, especially someone as young as she is.
breaking the fourth wall in a show like Star Trek is always really, really risky, and it can come off, if it's not handled right, it can come off like it can take you out of the story. I remember there's that episode of DS9 where Worf is on trial, and there's a lot of people breaking the fourth wall when they're giving their evidence. I mean, it kind of worked in that context, but I remember that episode, every time they broke the fourth wall, I'm like, ugh, this just doesn't feel right. At least because we were kind of experiencing this all inside of Sam's head, it made a little bit more, it just made a little bit more sense to me. And I found that the experimentation with form and tone is actually, it's not, like I said, it's not perfect in Starfleet Academy, but I think they're doing a little bit better than some of the experimentations they've done in the most recent season of Strange New Worlds.
What did you
and
think
I'm sorry
of
to
the way
keep coming back to that.
No, that's fine. What did you think of the way that the Caskians communicate with Sam with Sam like in her head essentially? Like I've seen comparisons. I think in the Discord to like how it used to be done with Robin Williams on Mork and Mindy.
Yeah, someone in the Discord was saying that, weren't they? They were saying like, "Oh, this felt like, when Mork used to speak to the people of his home planet or something like that." It felt like a throwback to that. Who knows? I mean, I never really watched Mork and Mindy. I've only ever seen clips of it, but yeah, that could that could very much be a thing. But I liked it. It didn't like I could. It wasn't perfect, but I definitely liked it. I think
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah. And did you see who apparently is credited as or at least uncredited as the voice of the Caskians?
no,
I've heard it was Chiwetel Ejiofor.
and remind me, who is that?
Oh God, I'm trying to. Pretty famous actor. I'm trying to think of something he's done. Like he was the. Uh,
If you know in the chat, let us know.
yeah, please, because I can't come up with. I've seen all sorts of crap he's done. I just can't think of something off the top of my head.
All good, Jim. All good. Let's flip to I think what was one of the main draw cards of this episode, right from the time we saw the trailers, and that is solving the Cisco mystery. Now, how did you feel about revisiting the unresolved fate of Benjamin Sisko? Did it feel satisfying, given that it was left unresolved?
I actually liked that they left it unresolved. Now maybe that was partly because obviously they couldn't get Avery back, but still, but still, why would you? What? Still, you don't always need to resolve everything. So I thought that was perfect. Like Hollywood tends to have a law in its storytelling where, like, hey, if something is unresolved, solve it. But no, like you can have a satisfactory ending to something without always solving it.
I think this gave the ending of DS9 more emotional impact now. Like it always hit pretty hard, but there was always there was always this thought that, Cisco might be back one day, but he hasn't. He hasn't returned. And that
Yeah,
in 1,000 years, he hasn't returned. And to learn that Jake and Cassidy would have lived out their days without seeing him ever again is really, really full on. But I also found that oddly, I found it satisfying in a way that Sam didn't quote unquote solve the mystery. Because again, Sam is a cadet who is less than a year old. Sam's not going to go on big intergalactic trips to the wormhole and all that kind of stuff, right? Like Sam is going to learn what Sam can learn from what's in the Academy archives and from
yeah.
talking to the Bajorans in the Academy and so on and so forth.
And I admit that scene where she was talking to the Bajorans might have been the hardest scene. Might have been, or not the hardest, the most uncomfortable scene for me in the whole episode.
Oh, really? Where she she did the path thing. She goes, "Thanks, so's yours."
Yes.
Dear. Yep. And so we've been told that the actor you were talking about before was from the Doctor Strange movies and 12 Years a Slave.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. I don't know. It's just suddenly had a mind blank when trying to come up with his roles. I'm also now remembering him in the Matt Damon movie where he was stranded on Mars.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So continuing on with the Deep Space Nine legacy, how well do you feel this episode balanced nostalgia with its mission to, push the narrative forward?
I thought the nostalgia. I thought the balance was perfect. I mean, they pushed the mission forward, they pushed the storyline of Sam's mission forward perfectly. I thought she was. I mean, when she was looking in the orb, I thought she was going to have an honest to God orb experience for a second there, but before it went silent or whatever it was. While at the same time, I mean, you had the orb, Dax for crying out loud,
Yes.
Tawny.
Yeah, you had Tawny there, which was really, really cool.
Yeah, of course, also Sirach. I mean,
The-
he was probably the next best thing to Avery for being in the episode.
yeah, I must admit, and I've heard this from a few people, when Sirach appeared on screen, I teared up, everyone. I absolutely teared up, and I teared up multiple times as things continued. I think that it struck a really good balance because there's nostalgia and there's fan service, but this didn't feel like a slap in the face of fan service and nostalgia. It felt like a big warm hug of DS9 nostalgia and fan service. And there were so many like little references there. I mean, even the Doctor talking about how his creator met Cisco and he knew stuff about Cisco because of that. Because obviously when he got back to the Alpha Quadrant, he would have interacted with Dr. Zimmerman. You know, and just like the little hints of all things DS9, the fact that the orb looked like an orb should look. You know, it had some extra visual effects swirling around it, but they didn't try to change the look. All the Deep Space Nine stuff looked like Deep Space Nine stuff. The only gripe I have, Jim, is that they completely glossed over the fact that Cisco had another child.
And they never mentioned the child.
Never mentioned. Jake never even mentioned a sibling or anything like that. I was waiting the whole episode for someone like, what happened to Cassidy? What happened to Cassidy?
They mentioned Cassidy, but they never mentioned the kid.
They did mention Cassidy, but just very, I think Jake mentions it when he's showing in Anselm, he's showing the picture of the plot of land that he had purchased on Bajor. And all of that was amazing. But what about the baby? Why not mention what happened to that baby? Or maybe they're leaving that to bring up again later. I don't know. Did you notice that was left out?
And actually, until you just said it now, no, I didn't. It didn't even occur to me.
It was driving me nuts.
I noticed Cassidy barely mentioned, which kind of surprised me. But no, the other child didn't even occur to me. And now that you say it, yeah, now that you say it, like I can't get it out of my mind.
Yeah. Kevin's noted that Cassidy was on the family tree when Sam was in the museum, but not the child. Or I was looking as well, Kevin. I was like, can I see, like, because she only clicks on Jake. She doesn't click on anyone else. I'm like, did they just think we would forget about that? Like,
or maybe did Cassidy lose the child?
Yeah, or maybe I want to say maybe it was an oversight on behalf of the writers, but it felt like this was written by people who understood Deep Space Nine. Like, because Tawny is on the writing staff, I believe, right?
Yes. I mean, she's in the freaking episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Kevin also said it doesn't mention the fact that Cisco had a sister as well, who we never saw in the show, I think. But yeah, we don't get any mention that there was actually different Cisco lineage. It would have been kind of cool to see if, like, track down some ancestors or something like that, because if those ancestors lived...
Or it could just be 900 years. Some history does get lost, especially after the burn.
That's a very headcanon explanation. I agree. I just felt like, as a fan, given everything else that was done so right, it just felt like it was the only thing I was unsatisfied. And everyone, I just want to say, like, I'm wafting on about it, like crapping on so much about it, but like, it was just a minor gripe, but it stood out to me. And I think it stood out to a few other people as well. What did we think of the half Cardassian, half Trill Dax?
Oh, I loved it. I love that. Although
that reveal was amazing.
Yeah. The makeup was amazing. I thought it was the perfect way to get Tawny back on screen, since she had already been on live action previously. Like, that was like probably the only way they could get away with that again. But it did take me I had to rewind a couple of times just to like notice the Trill spots on the Cardassian makeup, because it was kind of faint. Don't you think?
Yeah, which, I mean, it was hidden behind the hair and all that kind of stuff, right? Which was intentional, right? I think it was very intentional.
But when they did expose it, like, unless you have real damn good eyesight, it was kind of hard to see unless you were looking for it.
Yeah, I agree, but I think it was done. That was maybe done intentionally.
But still, and I've heard people I've heard people, I think, like on the Strange New Pod, like gripe and talk about this a little. It was established that like the symbionts don't go much beyond 800 or 900 years old, but Dax is 1200.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. And it's, I guess, we have to kind of just suspend disbelief a little bit and think that maybe some things have changed. I had a friend who say, "Oh, don't they mention that Dax was no longer around in Discovery?" But I'm like, I don't remember that reference, but I was totally here for it, right? I'm willing to believe that
Yeah.
it's that some
And
symbiotes can. So you go.
yeah, sorry, yeah. I was just gonna say, like, I commented on the Strange New Pod review of this, like, maybe Dax just inherited Curzon's curmudgeonly stubbornness.
Yeah, possibly, and perhaps the interbreeding has helped the symbiotes. Who knows? Because that's one thing we're learning in the 32nd century is there is a lot more interspecies breeding going on. We've seen in Discovery, we've seen a Cardassian and a Bajoran, we've seen a Jem'Hadar and a Klingon, we've also had a Tellarite and a Klingon now, and now we've got
We had a
Trill.
Cardassian and a human pretty much running the Federation at one point.
Yeah, so there's been a lot going on, and maybe some of that was out of necessity with people stranded in different parts of the galaxy after the burn and what have you. What did we think of just that final moment? Avery's voice, which I've now learned is from a spoken word album that Avery gave them permission to use.
Yeah, I think I I heard that too. I heard that like Serac secured his permission for the producers to use that.
Yeah.
That was my what the fuck moment. Sorry for swearing.
That's okay. Yeah, when his voice came on though, I was like, "Oh, God, he's got a beautiful voice." And then that For Avery came up and the Deep Space Nine theme song, I was like, "All right, I can die happy."
Yeah, as soon as I heard Avery's voice, I was on Google instantly checking this. I was on Google and IMDb instantly checking to see if they had actually gotten him back to record new original dialogue.
So good. So good. Anyway, we could probably go on about this for quite some time.
We could go on for hours.
We could go on for hours, but Jim and I
Yeah,
are on
and
the
I'll just
clock
say one
today.
last thing about the Avery thing. I mean, given that they got the second most reclusive person in Star Trek history, Jolene, to come back for Lower Decks, it wasn't out of the realm of possibility for fans to think, hey, maybe Avery could come back for Starfleet Academy.
Yeah, we can always hope. But I think this gives us that wonderful air of mystery about the character
Yes.
and the actor because, he doesn't live in the public eye anymore. Doesn't like it.
No,
So
yeah, I think the only and I think the only Star Trek person who even has contact with him is
it's
Serac.
Serac, yeah. I've listened to the Delta Flyers a lot, and Terry Farrell often will get a little sad about how much she misses Avery. Like she's like she'll talk about what he was like on set. She was like, I miss him so much. Like it's quite sad, really, because it sounds like he was well loved by the cast. So that's our Deep Space Nine thing. Before we wrap up, let's touch on some of the other stuff from the episode. The B plot with the stuff going on between Archie and the guy from the War College and helping him with preparing for a diplomatic dinner. I thought it was okay. It was a little bit of humor. It was a bit meh, but I think it served its purpose in sort of breaking up that main storyline. Did the anything about the B plot stand out for you?
Not beyond Tig being Tig. Not really. I mean, that bird, animal, whatever it is, I mean, it looked fake to me.
I thought it was a moopsie at first. That's when it first showed up. I was like, "Oh my God, it's a moopsie!" But
I didn't think it was a moopsie.
oh dear. Yeah, I agree. Tig was really, really good in those scenes, but it wasn't bad. The B plot. It was just largely forgettable in the grand scheme of what else was happening in the episode.
Yeah, and plus, I thought the whole nightclub thing was a kind of a minor C plot with like Tarima and Kate with Tarima and Caleb and the War College people.
Yeah, it largely existed to get Caleb and Tarima making out, but it was funny. It was amusing.
And to minorly extend Sam's A storyline. Like,
Yeah.
let's not let's applaud the fact that hey, there's a drag, there was a person in drag running a nightclub in San Francisco in the 32nd century.
Do you know who that drag queen is?
Jackie something. I don't really follow that community all that well.
That's okay. It was Jackie Cox. Jackie Cox is often at SCLV, does Star Trek drag, and has been on RuPaul's Drag Race before. So I was very, very excited to see Jackie Cox. Because straight away I was like, oh my God, that's Jackie Cox. That's amazing. So
Yeah, I just applaud that. I just applaud that choice for inclusivity reasons. I was like, I was like, thank God, congratulations. I love that choice.
yeah, yeah. We also had an interesting moment from the Doctor as well when they recover everyone from their bar fight, and the Doctor kind of is a little short with Sam, and
He got very parental, wouldn't you say?
yeah, I think I saw Kevin saying something about this in the chat before, which was something along the Doctor talking about losing people, something going on there. I agree, Kevin. It was very subtle. It was a blink and you'll miss it kind of moment, but that was this real. The Doctor has lived for like 900 years,
Yes.
and he's probably had so many amazing relationships, including his original one with his Voyager family, that have just all come and gone, and they would have come and gone so many times.
Yeah, it's like the second time in the series we've seen it. Like it's clear the Doctor. It's although the Doctor is very right. You do get over loss just like through time and moving on. It's clear like he's he's hurting from losing some of the best friends he's ever had through the Voyager and the Protostar cruise.
Yeah, but
Like-
then imagine all of the other friends he's had in that 900 years, right? Like, those are all moments in time that probably last for about, maybe 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Who knows how long those friendships last for before those people pass away. He's been through generations and generations of friends and acquaintances and chosen family. That's full on.
Yeah.
I think I wonder if they'll explore more of that as time goes on.
Season 2.
Fingers crossed. Did we miss anything, Jim?
I think we got it all pretty much covered.
Yeah.
Oh, one last thing.
Yeah.
That elevator scene between Nala and the War College dean, like the epitome of awkward.
And is there not a set that does not have a couch for her to flop herself on?
Yes. Oh, and not just that. When she flopped herself on it, she was like smack up against him, like seriously, personal space, lady.
Yeah, yeah. What else? There was a little bit more flirtation with Jaden and the
Yes,
sort of young blonde War
that's the
College
thing I was going
cadet.
to cover in this in the. Well, he truly learned Jaden's sexual orientation. He is attracted to one of the male cadets from the War College, and it looks like it's being returned.
Yeah. Someone also said that you can see Jaden wearing a scant at some point, but I must have missed that, so I'm going to have to look for that again.
I think I missed that too. I didn't see it.
Dear. Well, everyone, I think we're going to have to wrap it up there because Jim and I both have things we need to get on with for our days. But that was a really, really fun conversation, Jim. Thank you so much for everyone in the chat. We've had Chad, Kevin, and many others keeping us company today. We'll continue doing these recaps. Unfortunately, the schedule's a little all over the place, everyone, because I host these and I've got a lot going on at the moment. But I'll try to give plenty of notice so that more Patreon members, remember Patreon members, you can come, you can be on the show and you can actually be here on the Zoom and chat with us. So hopefully we see some of you when we come back next time to talk about future
And we
episodes.
want more of you. Please come join us.
We do. Jim and I have so much fun. And we had so much fun with Chad last week. He's at work today because I had to change the time. But I'll do my best to make these in a time that's more fitting for everyone. If you're listening or watching on the playback, thank you so much for joining us. Keep an eye out for the live broadcast. Like and subscribe. If you feel like joining up to the Patreon, you don't have to. Patreon.com/BQN. Or just share our programs on your socials and let people know because we love building this community. I think that's it. Thanks, Jim. Catch you next time.
Yep, it's been fun.
Take care.
Double T Media.